a little species value nature system. So we know it was reported ahead of time, they had awareness that PPE in itself might not be good enough. But they weren't ready. They tell each other, petty arguments. They blame it on passions and emotions. Not by accident. Passions and emotions have a scientific purpose in relationship to 5 identities of sequence / semi-simultaneous nature simultaneously. So not by accident, we have opinions with physical delusions and with criminally foreign influence premises, treatments, self-value when it comes to mental health care, logic, American history, every science. We have an identity of correlation nature that is breaching method employed, self-value, against our founding parents, let alone people hurt most by that, those breaching method roles. To keep everyone blaming what built. See, anything bonded and then self-defended as an identity, used as truth, that is not that bond, which is why we are individuals grouped and species actually, is going to have more and more nature demonstrate finite grouped and overall negative value nature progressions, acts of natures, and demonstration of it. Like, for example, for the predicate acts delivery system method that each modern nation is actually about. See, that can't be afforded discerned by people in relationship to what was left entrenched here since before our founding parents were even born. That too, the abridged constitution and that breaching screen pretended not realized. Breaching tools, breaching worse than weapons. Only to the defense of identities of collusion with that. Interbranch individually grouped in together, kept with all private database relationships simultaneously. Simultaneously, the database relationship be each age and nature of campuses. Further, since they were already an identity they shared, maintained, self-valued by the abridged sciences, as victim reactions invested to defenses of those fact-treatment nature reactions regarding where and how they were breaching method employed. See, James Madison's plan could only semi-counter extort our other founding parents and the other nations that were all involved with this individually grouped and together as victims, blaming other things, others themselves, for what is worse than that. Came from semi-ancient times, an archetypal criminal enterprise. I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a police force, I'm not a criminal. It is also evidence and data that is forbid by people pretending to be about data. For example, the criminal foreign influences. Now when people make opinions and convictions about what Jim Crow laws were about, for example, what they're about now is what they were about then. A breaching organized crime method engineered to keep everyone blaming other things, others themselves, for the illusions and the cover-ups, leveraged against each individual group and altogether any position of sophistication, forced to entertain positive treatments as criminal and seditious natures, styles of fact-treatment nature, forced in relationship to nature. Just as the styles of fighting are forced, you're forced to develop a boxing style. You are in boxing. Now the martial arts and the sciences, they were. Now, if you refer to evidence, you're going to look into that. You're going to look research, scientific consensus, and scientific process identity of the sciences individually grouped together. Again, what is actually recorded data and evidence is how they are criminally foreign influence, delusions, raw premises treatment, self-value, identity treatment, self-value. That simultaneously self-valued roles with criminal and ceaseless natures of positive treatments and of fake righteous justice treatments. You don't counter that by calling it prejudice. Then you're defending offensively a naive quality of fact treatment nature that can't defend itself and afford discern all the finite actually recorded evidences, like sequence shifts, like all that recorded when people prevent and how they prevent mandated law while they're pretending to be for it offensively, how they were motivated to that. Since before the World Trade Center attacks, they won't speak online because they've been using crime method. How are you going to pretend to be for the branches of government when the branches of government already predicate action cases with other nations and with areas? When we have cases, they're dealing with what goes wrong with areas, with all locations, areas, and states. Now there are hundreds of nations here as real sides in relationship to phenomena, where it has and how too. More than that, there are fake sides, self-value. Because here and there, the same breaching method maintains them as criminally foreign, in other words, our identities of law, criminally foreign influenced. Line progressions only capable of being self-valued, worse than sick, distinct exploitation of each age of fact treatment nature's correlation nature, which is a trinity, which is in relationship to why and how emotions are about real, not emotions, but one concept. They can't take it because it's one concept that is simultaneously, it's one identity of value/value progression relationship to its identity of relationship to itself and the value of that, which is distinct, non-distinctly, and simultaneously onto 1/3/5 semi-natures / simultaneous nature of that one simultaneous nature, which is how it's, for the example, the one identity of your cell, of a cell, of a body, of something living. It has the identity of the cell nucleus, the cell body, and of the cell wall /S, manifest as its own identity, but as its own, their semi-nature relationships to its complete body of value, where and how it is invisible but still discernible. One identity of value progression, value/value progression / simultaneous nature is in demonstration of us, of its identity of relationship to itself and the value of that. This is how math actually works. So we could discern the lies and the physical delusions of the sciences. Sometimes we could be wrong, but they are recorded pretending things to me, to pretend that they all must automatically be right, no matter what. They're making things up, forging names, switching names. These are private, overt criminal enterprises, military, foreign and domestic, and the branches of government, because they've been involved with locations. They're involved with fact treatment nature-oriented organized crime, which is what witch trials are about. It's about slavery. It's about the same exact thing. It's about roles with that breaching method that also had to keep everyone blaming what sickly hurts each stage of fact treatment nature, all the things other than themselves, so as not to discern how each position or each identity of the ground location is being used remotely, especially formally. The sciences and the branches of government, they can't do anything but hide line progressions. So this is all private tied to them too. And then everyone pretends you're attacking them. They use that name attack because of the extent of the illness, fact, cheaping nature illness. I saw one story about, don't even know the words, one of the main nurses, a young guy, healthy guy. I mean, they didn't say that, but they just say, they showed a picture of him, look at a young, healthy guy. And they said, he died from the coronavirus. But see, the people around him were using garbage bags. They were adapting. See, they're not allowed to adapt for good reasons with the identities of law, with what they've learned through time. But also what they have not learned is recorded clear as day, is night. That and how there are all kinds of natures of organized crime, roles that have been exploiting phenomenon associated with medical databases. And those are the same people that are involved. And when we have to speak about private corruption acts and people involved with predicate acts, or police forms, or police involved with predicate acts, overt criminal enterprises involved with criminal predicate acts. While we're speaking about this, all the natures are the same natures of courts and the various natures of courts. We're already in collusion with those same overt criminal enterprises, already kept needing to hide the same sequence shift roles, relevant fact-cheating nature styles, incapable of affording mandated law followed, because and of pretending they are integrity at the same time. They are victim predators. So the only way we could demonstrate the breaching method recorded is by using that as evidence. So they prevent mandated law. They are criminally pretending people must sue for rights, and we have to pick which ones we want, when they are preventing the simultaneously defenses of each surface value of the Constitution while they're pretending to be for it. They were engineered to roles with narratives regarding Washington, D.C. tied intercampuses of each age and nature, how they have language, how they have a relationship to programs, because they try to do damage control perpetually, increasingly. From that left originally still, all locations, areas, and trench, and states, all positions of the human fact-cheating nature. Roles was entrenched to force each position of the human value/value progression, increasingly to a breaching method, to roles and natures, bonded, reliant upon the hierarchy of its own, to hide their live progressions only capable of being, to hide their actually recorded natures, in relationship to them recorded offensively, simultaneously pretending to care about James Madison, and in collusion against him. Clear as day. Marbury versus Mass means real justice must satisfy all appearance of real justice. Doesn't mean that theater, punk, fake, whatever narrative the media recorded, confessed, and demonstrated, because they do science. They tell truths, they attach lies to truth. And people don't want to be like this naturally. Attaching me and little kids through time. Me as a little kid too, they pretended when they did this to me as an adult. There are medical families next to the schools. There are people associated with uses of a John Mayano and of a Joe Aiello, and of a school dance with people that were a grade younger than me, that were involved with the house near me, that has extended family members further involved with school resource officers also, various natures of courts, judges and prosecutors, involved with that because of their roles also, with uses of houses on corners, with uses of sense and sensibilities in relationship to identities of the law, like the FBI and like the CIA, and like other nations' police forms, and their family members of various industries, distinctly, non-distinctly, and simultaneously, differentially, in relationship, again, to the identity that is bigger than and smaller than, both in infinity and zero. This is how correlation nature works. You triple jerks. So, vaccines. YouTube.com/user/Romulus Wall. It's alright, people want to make opinions. Oh, but that's just how we're talking. Then people want to swear. But then we do it in a cute way. Because these are abused people. This is where forgiveness is for. They're making people fight outside of courts. They're making people stupid, and then say, oh, but these are experts' names. You're arguing about nonsense. They're pretending they don't understand people. Fix the fake words, the fake locations, and the fake ties to other people, and the fake natures of ties to other people, WFSB, and Fox Connecticut News. They also did this with dozens and dozens of people, recorded and involved with just dozens from my town, Wethersfield, Connecticut, intercities, dozens of people from on and off in the Britain Superior Court, involved leading up to the World Trade Center and since, involved with predicate acts delivery system method roles. There's a whole bunch of methods, motivations, natures, needs, interests of evil, real, but not the ones that are really real, which are actually recorded. Now these are long-time retired and standing police forms that already use jail systems and stuff like that, sickly. Already in collusion with the phenomenon where they only let leaders be in collusion with states and areas, locations, areas, and states, forcing them to glorify what is clear criminally foreign influenced. Because all the styles of liars share, knowing, as human, where the branches of government are manifest positive value. But we're not being allowed to demonstrate how they're negative value nature still, through criminal foreign influence, effectively used unchallenged. We never had patriotism. Now we lost Brady too. The Patriots will never be real. Vaccines. So I play because you guys are waiting. I've asked 50,000 times to have mandated law followed. The branches of government forge names, switch names. Then people will, I don't understand. Get them in other words, when you're in their presence, they make confessions about their roles with police forms from East Hartford, New Britain, Hartford, Wethersfield, involved with predicate acts with falsified police reports. All connected to the same bullshit narratives, beginning with a promise to appear, involved with the women and children. They are recorded, confessed, and demonstrated, and confirmed through time, interbranch, criminally foreign influence, roles with abuses of kids on and off campuses, intercampuses, and intra-campuses. See, John Mayano and Joe Aiello are recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with sequence shifts with judges and prosecutors and other natures of predicate acts with them on and off my street through time. I never saw him on my street. Pretty sure he's involved with sequence shifts though, because now John Mayano hung around with my neighbor, who was in my grade. They knew I hung around with them sometimes. like through high school. He used to hang around with his cousins. I never hung around with his cousins one time. I didn't even realize the extent of what they were doing. Now these are people out there, there are women who are little girls who are involved with judges and prosecutors, overt criminal enterprises, prison cliques, their family members, the policing of stores, foreign and domestic, on and off Weatherfield Library, Intercities Library, same ones involved with the campus predicate acts. Now, I caught them with some child offenders with a principal child offenders campus with more than now involved with it, including women judges and women prosecutors involved with those crime methods of forging names and switching names, making confessions, and then attaching me and others inter branch to fake recorded video and fake recorded audio with the various natures of police forms, falsifying police reports, pretending they're making mistakes, forging names, switching names, making threats that way, making threats through confessions, uses of positive and negative as criminal and serious nature, as fake righteous justice natures, as criminally foreign influenced and delusions wrought predators, victims but victim predators. They want to be called predators because they were used already for worse, which is actually recorded, and by worse, which is we are prevented from countering because they so effectively raised our branches of government, dozens of people from each court, every person actually, originally and still. You think they could tell they're sane when they make opinions about slavery? You think that's a capable counter? Not in collusion. Oh, it's blame it on prejudice. That's the quality of our fact, human nature, sophistication. You have worse than forsaken. This is where forsaken, where we are a value progression. So there's an Eric Oliveri and a Craig Oliveri and a Joshua Stryker. I never had anything to do with them. The whole bunch of people tied to this ILO family and with locations on and off Trinity College, on and off Central Connecticut State University, in Hartford and New Britain, involved with them intercities through time, with predicate acts, and with roles with them with wrongdoing, on and off campuses of each age and nature connected, and with the dance after my class had graduated, and how I stayed back. Those two speech teachers, recorded, confessed, demonstrated, also involved, influenced as victims, as predators, but they're not aware of the narratives themselves, probably. These are police forms, interbranch, attach everyone to fake audio, fake video. They have people approach others where they're criminally having everyone speak through other people. So we have a Dillon family. We have a whole bunch of people on Two-Rod Highway who are recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with predicate acts with judges and prosecutors on and off Two-Rod Highway, on and off Route 3 also, as those same ones. And with this Dillon family, also with my new and past neighbors. And now this is also relevant to the Witness Protection Program stewards, involved with other natures of organized crime, with overt criminal enterprises, per themselves, and per their per what is actually recorded. See, but they're bonded other than they've been claiming them bonded, which is also what is actually recorded. They've been putting faked audio and faked video into branch in conjunction with them doing that with online. Now there are a whole bunch of people from Trinity College from my town that I don't know at all. That some of them, like one of the women pretended other with this Oliveri when I was a kid. They tried to make exceptions in exception nature to exploit that because of the nature of their roles with all kinds of medical organized crime that is extended from those positions to all locations. Now these are people involved with prisons and the courts that have been hiding their life progressions from kept needing to do that intercities because of the roles with the intercampuses and intra-campuses database organized crime that exploits it further, where there are live progressions from there, where there are standing fake integrity as identities of the law from all off law locations, further and further on off them more, because of how they were and are used remotely, because of where and how the human fact treatment nature was as being used remotely, is as what actually slavery is about, as what actually the game of Martin Luther King is about. The playground, the garden. Here, arise, be trial tribes. So we never had integrity. And the arguments they need to put them on paper because of the sequence shifts. Not by accident. So they need problems with all locations because they can't have things come to courts with anyone using logic that is not criminally foreign influenced and delusions raw, let alone, self-value roles with the sequence shifts and other natures of organized crime, bonded with the same ones intercampuses of each age and nature, in my city and intra-city and intercampuses and intra-campuses. These are private school kids that also live near the schools, all involved with the same house/S. The same ones involved further with World Trade Center predicate acts too. Same ones involved personally with the courts criminally since they were kids involved with predicate acts with databases. Sequence shifts with whole groups they have involved with sequence shifts. So I don't know if they were even ever went on the campus of Trinity College. My neighbor, the other one that was there before that, I know it was. But my new and past neighbors also recorded and confessed with other people on and off Trinity College, CCSU, involved with predicate acts, illusions roles with them, and with the judges and prosecutors involved criminally, and with federal criminal code defendants of, in the person of, former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, and his lawyer, Robert Cheverry, also recorded, confessed, demonstrated, involved, and confirmed, involved with predicate acts leading up to and in a 2006 district court case, as their relevant roles with cases before that and since with predicate acts and actors and roles with it. So it could be, and I'm not a lawyer, not priest form criminal. We have to, they're forging names, switching names is wrongdoing relevant to that. That their uses of time treatments, always too fast, too slow. Boxings and so, So this is why and how the computer's cataloging of time has to keep its identity bigger than that. But it can't help but be a semi-nature relationship to the actual identity of infinity and of 0/S. I tell it best, boxings. It's through all things alone. So, also see ancient gaming system. We will take counterposition/S, humanity, so people can fathom. Because otherwise we have all victim predators pretending other people are making theories. And we have no formal integrity of logic. We have no actual experts. Because we have the experts of mental health, criminally foreign influenced, criminal uses of the identity of the ground locations, like all along that road that goes by where Harriet Beecher Stowe Mark Twain house is, which is relevant. And that's the lawyer of Robert Luskin, the former director of the FBI, former standing chairperson on Racketeering Influence to Corrupt Organization Act. These are all people from my town. That's in Hartford, Connecticut. His office down the street from there at the time. Involved with a whole bunch of people from my town through time, intercities, with the interbranch predicate acts roles, identity theft roles, identity frauds roles, worse than war crimes, identity crimes. This is what slavery is about. American history is not complicated. You start picking out names and separating things from that breaching organized crime methods relationship to the roles with the simultaneously fake positive and fake negative. This is in relationship to why and how each identity has a simultaneous identity of relationship to positive and negative. This is where and how we are a value progression / simultaneous nature that is an only increasing identity of volume. Identity of volume is identity of relationship to itself that is natural, pure, course. By our fact, human nature, long words and short words forbid integrity. The reason we need experts is for truth that they're forbidding from being used, because they've been using those truths for lies and with physical delusions. So they have natures of aggression while they're simultaneously pretending other. As this theater they were backed into the same way the overt criminal enterprises were. The same way they were recorded with the witness protection program also. Kept needing to hide the same roles with the same predicate acts on off campuses that are relevant to the roles with the corners of streets. Now there are a whole bunch of little boys and girls that are tied to prosecutors and judges and programs with kids of all natures. So then they hear me say something, and they say something to the police. The police lie about them. They lie to them about me. Any truth they tell, they attach lies to. Now there's a further people with my new and past neighbors roles with the Dillon family, and with prosecutors and judges trying to start fights with me and people and between others in my area through time. They have one mother went into another mother's house per them and said she was going to kill her on my street in front of her children. That's also one of the ones recorded involved as a victim of what through time Wethersfield was intercities with Central Connecticut State University in Britain. Criminally involved with all along that road, Griswold Street. The woman who came over here. Now these are also people, a whole bunch of ways involved with this Dillon family. Anna Dillon, Sean Dillon, Kevin Dillon. Involved with other real estate companies also. With people with the name Sullivan. Involved with Central Connecticut State University in Britain and Hartford campuses. Next to the locations next to the campuses, businesses, formal places. So we have also foreign and domestic families involved with medical racketeering, involved with New Britain Superior Court, with dozens of people associated with the Town Line Drive, Mobile, and the Mobile down the street from it. And they sought me out to confess this as strangers to me. So this is also relevant evidence, and relevant to them sequence shifting. These are also people roles with such over here in Connecticut, intercities, intercampuses, interprivate databases, with overt criminal enterprises and the witness protection program again. As ones involved also with the body dumping spot /S reported associated with and confessed and recorded and confirmed on Facebook, for example, Faenza families. As strangers sought me out to make confessions relevant to their roles with people on off the state of Connecticut judicial branch offices and the road next to it and houses next to it and on and off Two-Rod Highway, involved with them with the body dumping spot of Billy Grasso and with people associated with those overt criminal enterprises per their narratives with them, and like people with the name Joey Quest and Nick Sweet, involved with identity thefts. I don't know them. Don't need context. They might take a picture of me, example. Now, those are also people with a completely, I don't know. But like a Joshua Julian. Recorded involved with my town's police chief, a whole bunch of people tied to his daughter. Involved with the principal child offenders campus, then and further, like with two Mendez police brothers. Also involved with fake video and fake recorded audio. Fake ties to me. On and off the Wethersfield Police Department too. Fake conversations with me. So the police through time, since I was a little kid, they were threatening me and others about how they take people they use those the Wethersfield Police Department to fabricate fake audio and video recorded. Now these are also people involved with all kinds of security online, all kinds of natures of organized crime, with coding, with narratives in relationship to it. This is identities correlation nature. You don't have them speak, pretend they're going to speak for ethics. You have them follow the mandated law now and the surface values of the Constitution. You learn a force. It is not what surges through all things alone. So, I tell you alone, boxings. I tell you things.